leave a message after the tone.
You got 7 questions due. Your life is going down the tubes. What do you do when you need advice?
This is where it gets good. Good night.
What am I fighting for?
So turn down the lights, pick up the phone, and leave a message for the new Clan.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Nude Clan After Dark. I am your host, Caleb Schweiss.
Caleb Craig.
And Cameron.
And Jacob's here.
Yeah, we got Jake on today. For better or for worse, right?
Usually for worse.
All right, as long as you acknowledge it.
Yeah, see, Craig doesn't
can I
need...
accept? You're welcome.
Craig doesn't need... That's the saying. the Moana song. What can I accept? You're welcome. It's like a deranged Trump tweet. Pelosi's going off for a rocker. Yeah, seriously.
Not sending them. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I'm not. You're not the only one that has Trump one-liners, though. I do that all the time.
Yep.
All
right, do we have any...
It's the no sleep. That's what it is.
Right. So we're just
really
going to
is
say
because
that Trump is just gone for so long without adequate sleep. That's why he's the way
Probably,
he is.
yeah.
Yeah, 3 a.m.
I mean,
tweets.
you got to think about it. Yeah, he's up early.
I mean, if you look at some of the lifestyles of other people who make billions of dollars, it's like sleep is the last thing on their schedule. So
Yeah.
they're doing something.
Well, he
They're doing
clearly
this
sleeps
going.
in a
They're
tanning
doing
bed,
something
so-
right, but they're also doing something real wrong. You know?
I mean,
bit of
you
that
always hear
radiation
that
sequence.
that they'll use stimulants like amphetamines and stuff like that to keep them going, but I don't know. There comes a point, even when you are on something, that you just fucking need sleep.
Sounds like you need some of that medical monster.
Yeah. Well, that's why you
Medicinal
guys wake
monster.
me up, because if I set an alarm, I'll set it too early. And now we're like an hour and a half late starting, so...
Yeah, some of that was you. Some of that was Craig being held up
Yeah.
at train point.
Fucking Union
Train
Pacific.
point.
Well, the Pacific side was the retarded side, too. That was the side that barely made any headway.
Well, I mean, if you remember at school, the Sierra Nevada was hard to get through, and they had to do it right away.
Yeah, that's true, but I mean, they only made it to Utah, and the other guys made it all the way from the East Coast to Utah.
All they had
It's
to do
like-
is fucking lay track down in a
That's
straight
true.
line. Whereas in Sierra Nevada, they had to fucking blow through the Sierra Nevada mountains.
Yeah, it's like, what
Tunnels
kind of
and stuff.
race is this? Like, you guys said it's a race, but this is bullshit.
It's
Straight
like,
line for them.
just keeps
Fucking
You got your
shitload of
up.
mountains
It's
on
like-
the side.
you got your-
man, those fucking fools! They let us. They're just betting, how much who could get the farthest, and then just what to put down for a bet. Man, those guys, Union, man, they let us get away with so much.
The hills
And then-
have size.
And then fucking, they have the Appalachian Mountains,
The
which they went
Appalachian
through.
Hills, yeah.
But they did have the Rocky Mountains. I have to see, how hard that was to get. I think they went through.
Well, they went over to California, and then they got to, what is it, like Centerville? Isn't that where it is?
Yeah, Centerville, Utah. But
The mountains are on the other side of that, though, aren't they? I don't know where Centerville is, honestly.
It's like an hour away from here.
Yeah, but like, which is it on? What side of the mountain is it on? Because like, because the only thing they went through, as far as I know, is the big ass Californian mountains, right?
no, but
That
from
steel-
the other side, like what part of the Rockies did they go
It's
Oh yeah, I don't know. The east side coming west.
through?
They met in Centerville, so I don't know. I don't know how much of that went.
I have to go look at the
They went
history
through
again,
Colorado.
but
At least.
that's the reason why they could lay down so much more track. It's just
Yeah, they
it
had
was easier.
they had Kansas. It's like obvious. Kansas was like an afternoon.
I
And-
expected the Rockies to be a little bit more rockier.
and
than this.
the import of workers, and from that point in time, a whole bunch of Chinese workers came in to help work on the railroad and stuff.
Which
like
side
that.
though? Was it
Oh,
both?
that was the California side, the West Coast side.
Yeah, well, you can't. They should have hired the Mexicans, not the Chinese. They wanted it done. Fucking Chinese. Are you kidding me?
I mean, they're just blowing through mountains, so...
Oh, they are
They did
masters
the
of
gunpowder.
explosives. Yeah, that's true. They did invent that shit. That's part of their... It's part of their DNA now.
Centerville's right there. So it's like right next to the mountain.
Yeah, it's on this... No, is it Centerville? Fuck. I can't remember if it's Centerville that they met at. Now that I'm looking at Centerville, it doesn't seem...
You mean Promontory Point?
Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah, I remember exactly which city for Promontory Point.
Let me look. Typing with one hand is embarrassingly slow. Promontory Point. I might be thinking... So it's Promontory, but isn't that... Didn't they change it or something? Maybe they didn't. I don't know.
No, the site on location has always been called that, but I don't know what the surrounding city may have been called.
Oh, it is just the city, Promontory.
Okay.
All right, where is it then?
So it's just called Promontory?
Yeah, I thought it was... I always thought they changed it or some shit. Man, I don't know my fucking Utah history, apparently.
Yeah, if anybody's out there in Utah, they do a pretty awesome recreation of the event out there every so often. Can't remember how often it is.
Utahns love their pageants and their...
It's pretty awesome. The recreation with
Recreations.
the beard. You can
Oh, yeah.
go do it out there with the spikes.
yeah, with my fucking beard blowing in
Yeah.
the wind.
It's-
Get that golden
it's-
spike ready to go.
Work.
It's on the other side of
Stripped
the...
down to the waist and just my glistening skin in the sun as I'm smacking down on those
The
spikes.
listeners.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's on the west side of the mountain range, so they didn't even get over the...
My poor white skin just burning in the sun.
Yeah, they didn't even make it to Centerville. Holy shit.
Yeah, they're closer.
It's
They're
like-
further away from that.
Yeah.
What a bunch of losers.
That's just right above the Salt Lake.
That's like the biggest defeat in history, in sports history, is the fucking... the Union race for...
So they
for
got
railroad.
over our
Pacific.
mountain, but
Yeah, but what did they do to get through the Rocky Mountains?
Well, the Rocky Mountains... They didn't go through the Rocky Mountains.
Where'd it go through?
Promontory is like right next to Salt Lake, the Great Salt Lake.
Right.
So it's east of the mountain range right next to us. I mean, I guess...
I'm talking about the the
east
side.
guys?
How did they get through?
I don't know, like beasts, apparently.
What did they have to I'll have to look again, especially in that area. Did they have to blow tunnels? Did they have to do everything that
I
they were
would
doing in Sierra
imagine they made
Nevada?
a tunnel.
But I'm just thinking maybe there was just more mountainous terrain. I know the Rockies, they are a much larger chain as far as length goes.
Yeah.
But is it wider than the mountainous area that they had to get through in the Sierra Nevada?
And see, the Sierra Nevada, there's obviously something to it. It's really high compared to the sea level right next to it. Because that's why Nevada and Utah are deserts. Because we shouldn't be deserts at all. Our climate should be very, very moist.
Well, yeah,
But the
you can
mountain
see
range-
High elevation.
you can see what happens. It's just the mountains themselves trap a lot of moisture on the other side, which is
Yeah.
why the west or the east side of the Rockies are super green and
Thank
stuff
you.
on the on that side, and then the middle between the Sierra Nevadas and the Rockies is just kind of desert.
Yeah, they're robbing that. They're stealing our water. And that's why we send all our homeless people to them, because fuck those guys.
they've been paying for our water for decades.
And then way back in the day, that whole area just used to be one like giant inland sea too, though.
Yeah.
Which
that's
is why
true.
there's a lot of shale oil in this area.
That's true. So we shouldn't be the climate we are, but those Californians are taxing us
I mean, we
so heavily.
should be the climate we are.
Well, I'm
'Cause
saying
of the way-
based on where we're located on the planet, and
the high elevation.
with our not really the elevation. It's just we're in a region that would be very moist.
Somewhat to do with it.
But the Earth itself has stopped that from
I mean,
being a thing because of the mountain range. That's why Nevada is such a desert. Is it all gets trapped.
we know the reason why it is the way it is, and that's the way it should be. I mean, if there weren't mountains there, yes, we'd be looking at a difference in geography. But that's just you'd have to keep going back, like all the differences of what geography could be. I mean, that'd be fun if you're like trying to come up with your own planet and what it would look like and stuff like that from some science fiction
Your own utility.
Well, no,
Schweiss.
because the way that your climate is, I mean,
It's
a lot of
determined by the
things-
geography around it. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of things affect it, but I mean, if you live in a certain belted region on the Earth, you should have moisture like in excess. But because of California's greed, we don't have it. The mountains. I mean, you can't really stop that, but unless you blow them up, which is what I would do, just blow off like the top mile or half mile of mountain.
I think there's a lot going on that affects the weather.
valley-
That
yeah.
I don't know what. I mean, the
We don't
instant
sell-
eradication of the Sierra Nevadas would do, besides get rid of the mountains and the
It would get rid of the plentifulness
habitat that they provide.
of California. Yeah. So then they could spiral down into the hell that they've created themselves. Which would
Yeah.
be beautiful. So beautiful. But can't really do that, so. But yeah. That's why Colorado is so nice, is because like it's in the same kind of belt, and they're a little beyond that. Like anything that would have gotten into past the mountains would have already been depleted by the time I got to them. Was kind of the idea. So they're a lot nicer. But there's your
Geography
a
and
little bit of
Your geography.
history.
and climate
But
talk.
but yeah, elevation also really does contribute to how dry a place is as well. I mean, so Colorado is still dry climate. Utah was always going to be a dry climate with its height, but not as bad as it is now, I guess, because of mountains.
Yeah. All right, well, let's see what the listeners want us to talk about. So,
Hey, yeah, hand me one of those earphones.
Hey, new
I
class,
wanna get
Jared
your
from
mouse.
Arizona again. I was listening to the most recent After Dark. Craig's going ham about pulp and not pulp, and then Shake's shit. What this got me thinking here, and I've had this debate with several roommates, is a burrito a sandwich? Because after working at Arby's for a while, you make sandwich wraps, which is essentially just, a sandwich inside a tortilla wrapped like a burrito. And you can have a bean sandwich. I've seen people eat bean sandwiches, as weird as they are, but they do exist. So that makes me think, is a burrito just a sandwich? You guys think about this? I hope this upsets Craig.
He's already visibly
You guys have
upset.
a good one.
all right, there's an easy answer to this, and the answer is no. It's not a fucking sandwich.
So I've
All right?
heard an argument that a sandwich is anything placed between two pieces of carbohydrate, and so the argument was
no.
So the argument.
no.
Wait.
It's
Let me
anything
let me
that's
finish what
between
I'm saying.
Two slices of bread.
And so the argument is that a salad with croutons is just a sandwich,
no.
depending on the pieces of croutons and their distribution throughout the salad.
No, a sandwich is literally just anything between two slices of bread, which is why you can make such a creation as a bean sandwich, because all it requires is bread. And it doesn't matter what kind of bread.
But the word sandwich now just means between two different things.
No, that's not.
But
Whoever the hell
tortilla,
decided that?
a tortilla is just unrisen bread, though, right?
Yeah, but it's still just. I mean, so basically, a burrito is just an open-faced sandwich that's been rolled up.
That's not what that was.
So,
You're trying to piss me off, and I know it, and I'm not going to fall for it.
So what is an open-faced sandwich then?
An open-faced sandwich is just ingredients on top of a slice of bread.
And what happens if I were to
Right.
fold that open-faced sandwich in half?
Then it becomes a sandwich. Because
But
it's between
then-
two things of bread.
what
But
if we
then-
open up
but
our
then-
tortilla?
If I have
If you open up your tortilla, you've ruined your burrito.
no. So what if I just have a stiffer piece of thin bread and bend
Like
that half
pita?
around and bend that in half around my ingredients? That becomes a taco, but it's still
That's not a taco. A taco is a shell. All right,
Stiffer piece of bread.
It's not even just like one of the crispy shells. All right, you can have two bits of tortilla and then just fold it up and put the things in there. That's still more of like an open-faced sandwich, but it's not a sandwich because it's not bread. It is a tortilla, which is different. because you can have they're made of different things. All right, you don't make bread out of corn. There's like cornbread, which is more like
all right,
a fucking,
whoa.
It's more
You
like a muffin than it is.
You don't make bread out of corn.
Okay,
comma. There's cornbread.
But it's not like bread.
It's
all right?
bread.
It's crumbly and it's fake bread.
It's
right.
some of the best bread, though.
What if Craig?
It is really nice bread.
What if? What if I took a street taco sized tortilla and put peanut butter and jelly on it, and then closed it with another street sized tortilla? Street taco sized tortilla. Have I created a sandwich using tortilla?
Or have you created a taco using peanut butter?
You've created a taco using peanut butter and jelly.
But I'm using two separate tortillas, though.
But there's not bread.
It is flatbread. That is what tortilla is.
That's not what it is. No. Tortilla is something different. It's not bread.
So we're clear that if we put a hot dog in between
the style,
two pieces of bread, it
okay,
is not a sandwich. A hot dog can never be a sandwich.
A fucking croissant is not a muffin, all right? Because they have similar ingredients, but that doesn't make them the same thing, all right? It's ridiculous, and just because it's flatter and there's pita bread doesn't make a tortilla bread. It's a tortilla. It's something different. It's called something different because it's made in a different style, and that's why it's different, all right?
Well,
you don't call a fucking like end table a dinner table. They're made of the same things, and they're just both like flat pieces of wood.
But
but they're not the same thing, and they don't serve the same function.
What if you are one person and you eat your dinner on that end table?
It doesn't matter.
Is it
a coffee table is not a dinner table? An end table is not a dinner table.
So the definition of tortilla is a type of thin flatbread.
No.
That's the very first line before the comma.
It's not a sandwich.
Tortilla
According
is
to
flatbread.
What are your sources here, man?
And so flatbread is just unleavened or bread that just doesn't rise.
Yeah, it doesn't have any. Yeah,
it's still bread.
It's different, and it serves a different purpose. It's not a
sandwich.
sandwich.
It doesn't serve a different purpose.
So, is a quesadilla now a cheese sandwich?
No, it's not.
I don't think it is. I don't believe it is.
You are right.
I also don't believe that a Hot Pocket counts as a sandwich, even though people say it does. I believe that's something else.
It's the meat and cheese wallet. That's all that is.
Well, they like seal it inside of like the crust. That doesn't make it a sandwich.
It's a pie more than anything. Actually.
Yeah, it would be like a meat pie.
That's pretty much what it is. Yeah.
Just like those Crustables, you know, the ones that are like
that are disgusting. Yeah,
they're like peanut butter and jelly that they like seal inside there. Like it's. I don't know what to call that. I don't know if I'd still call that a sandwich since they like seal it up.
They cryo freeze it to the point where it's always frozen in the middle. It's like never been de-thawed completely in its life. The moment it was made,
you can't even microwave it to the point where it's still not frozen.
Everything else around it will just be molten, and that'll still be ice because those things are nasty.
It's the ultimate duality.
Yeah.
in the Smuckers.
I think this crustless sandwich is an allegory for life. No matter how much good happens, the center of it is death and coldness. And that's the one thing you
just like the center of a Hot Pocket is always molten lava.
What is it called when you have a sandwich where they basically press it in a grill and grill at the same time? I forget the name for that.
Panini did it.
A panini. So a quesadilla is just a Mexican panini.
No, it's not.
That's the word I was looking for.
It's not. It's not the same thing in any way. Fuck you. Go to hell.
Not the same in any way. I don't know about that. I mean,
you got
it's not
two
same.
pieces of carbohydrates with cheese and other fillings, and then it's pressed and grilled. It's a panini.
Your logic.
Are you saying
carbohydrates is just?
Are you saying I cannot create
your logic is the same kind of chaos that causes people to think that cereal is a soup?
Who says that?
A bunch of people, and they're morons for it.
Yeah, that's pretty dumb. Although, I mean, You could make a creamy soup that's made with a lot of dairy. And you could call that cereal, right?
I mean, a
Just
lot
put,
of
like-
soups do take a lot of cream.
Yeah, you put like put some Captain Crunch in your cream of mushroom, and like, what is it then? What is it? Is it cereal or is it soup?
Fuck you guys.
I would say it's soup still, but
A soup is a primarily liquid food, generally served warm or hot. And so all you have to do is heat up your bowl of milk and cereal, and you got soup.
I mean, there's
or
stuff
malto
like,
meal. That's
there's like gazpacho. Isn't that served cold? Is that the right soup that I'm
I don't
thinking
know.
of? I can't remember.
know.
There's a couple soups that are served cold.
I'm not as fluent in soup.
Whereas,
I
I don't
mean-
think it's chowder.
I mean, the culinary world is just all about finding new combinations of stuff you haven't thought of before. You got to stretch the definition.
No, you
Yeah,
don't.
they're
Of
running
what
out
it
of
is.
Michelin
That's not-
stars. We
that's
need
not
to
what
hand
that
them
is
out
at all.
now.
Okay, now, Craig. What if I made a small burrito, right? And I put it in between two slices of bread and ate it.
Then you made a burrito sandwich.
Well, a burrito sandwich. What if you took the contents of a burrito out and you put them in between two pieces of bread? Is
Then it would still be a burrito sandwich.
Well, I
Craig,
think that'd be a sandwich.
Craig, I think we're missing the point here. What if I took two burritos and placed a sandwich in between them and ate that?
Wait, in between them? So there's... So are you saying sandwich
wait.
contents in between two full-size burritos? So
Think of a second,
BLT squeezed in between two bean burritos is what he's saying. Is that a sandwich?
I would say that you created something different.
I think that might be the burrito
Because-
sandwich.
Because KFC came out with a thing that was like their pieces of bread were just two chicken patties, which I never called that a sandwich because it's bullshit. Because the breading does not count. So that would be something completely different.
That sounds amazing, though.
It was pretty good. I've tried
Two
it.
pieces of chicken as like the bread.
Yeah,
I mean,
it got
as-
like lettuce and
as far
tomatoes
as,
and
you know,
bacon in the
As
middle.
As far as going
Lettuce.
keto goes, if you get two pieces of grilled chicken as your
Bread.
bread,
Yeah.
It'd be pretty low. It wouldn't be completely carb free, but it'd be
It was
pretty
pretty
low.
sweet.
just
That
chicken,
bread
not
does
breaded,
that.
not breaded chicken, just grilled chicken.
Yeah,
No, just
breaded
grilled
chicken
chicken.
is actually really bad.
Yeah.
It's got a shitload. It would be very not good. It's tasty, though. Man, it's so much tastier.
Well, KFC should have just called it the clogger.
Well,
Because all it
breaded
does is
chicken
clog
or is it
arteries.
fried chicken? Because there's different.
Just
Because
fried
breaded
chicken.
just means that you've like
So here we're
cooked it
seeing
with, like,
here we're seeing
the breadcrumbs.
corporations are wonderful overlords set definitions for words for us. So now they're loosely using the term bread for these breaded chickens. So theoretically, a sandwich could be made of two
No.
pieces of anything with stuff in between.
Cam. No.
You just want to tear down the systems that made us, man.
Well,
Quit trying to
'Cause-
fight the
'cause-
power.
Craig was saying that if I take the contents of a burrito, I empty the burrito out onto a piece of bread and put another piece of bread on top of those contents.
Well, you just took it out of the tortilla.
really-
you still took the,
so his-
you just took
his
the
only-
innards out of a burrito
his
and you're
only-
putting it on a sandwich.
It still fits the two.
It would
I
still
think.
be a burrito
I think
sandwich.
it's a sandwich. I think it's just a sandwich that's weirdly made. It's just an awkward sandwich with like
It's just
You
it's
just
a
made
piece
a
of
burrito
bread.
sandwich, but you've made an
It's
extra
just a
step out of
flexible
it.
piece of bread. Craig.
what if I make all the contents for a burrito? So I get the chicken, I get the beans, I get the the whatever the hell else you use in your burritos, whatever you want. And then I instead of putting those in a flour tortilla, I put them on a piece of bread.
Then you've made a poorly conceived sandwich.
Okay, see, it's a sandwich.
Craig, now what if
Anything between two slices of bread is a sandwich.
Well, unless,
Schweiss.
of course, it was tainted by other sorts of like wheat content, according to you. Because
what
can't
if
take
I
the
were to
burrito.
make a delicious Reuben sandwich and roll that up into a tortilla? What then?
Then you rolled a Reuben into a tortilla.
Does it not become a burrito?
I think it does. If
I
you,
don't know what the definition of a burrito is.
And now, when you roll your cat up into a blanket, that becomes a burrito.
I would
Explain
imagine that
to
a
me.
burrito is anything that has at least.
So, what you're saying here,
beans
Craig,
and cheese.
you don't actually know what a burrito is.
But he
You
knows
just
what
admitted it.
But he knows what a sandwich is, and that's where.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's why we
I
call.
know what a sandwich
That's why we
is.
call the cat rolled up a burrito and not
So
a
you're
pussy
taking
sandwich.
you're taking So you're making some broad statements here without knowing the whole situation.
Lies.
You don't know. You are
you're
not
arguing
looking
what
at it from
what
the
a
burrito's
sandwich
point
is.
of view.
You're not arguing a burrito.
You're not arguing. You're not looking at this from the burrito's point of view.
All right, you know what? I'm going to go on the record as saying a burrito is anything that has at least beans and cheese that is wrapped up in a tortilla.
I'm gonna have to find an example.
Because
wait.
Because a chimichanga is exactly a burrito, but it's been fried.
Then what would a sushi burrito be?
Inconceivable.
It would just be a sushi
I would
burrito,
imagine
probably.
you would just wrap sushi in a burrito.
Yeah.
Or
No,
in a
it's an
tortilla.
actual thing. Yeah, so it is sushi in a tortilla with rice and a lack of beans.
Who would make such a thing?
It's an actual thing. You can go buy it.
Oh.
I like sushi,
I
but
don't
just
know,
the idea of like
I don't like the
rice.
idea of calling that a burrito because a wrap is literally just pretty much anything outside of that, outside of anything with beans in a tortilla. So
And back to the whole...
I think beans is the main ingredient for a burrito to exist.
I'm gonna have to find many examples of burritos without beans just for you. I'm
pretty sure beans have to be in the burrito. Like, that's the only thing that makes sense to me.
I think you just already admitted you don't know what a burrito is.
But beans is the constant.
why do we call them fried beans?
Well, I mean,
Because
it's
when have
not.
you never
It's
known
not.
a Mexican to do it right the first time.
Well, oh my god! And it's not just the refried beans though. There's the black beans. You could put regular pinto beans in there. I'm pretty sure that the staple ingredient for a burrito has to be beans.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, it's just a wrap.
Yeah.
Okay, Craig, then explain this to me. We're going to look at another culture, right? We're going back to sandwiches, by the way, because you obviously don't know what burritos are. But sandwiches...
I have created the standard of burrito, all right?
So-
I have created it. I am the master of food. Fuck you all. You
So-
bow before me and my knowledge.
dipping into
my creations.
another culture that's steeped with tons of just it's an old ancient culture, tons of culinary advancements and stuff like that. I'm looking at the falafel sandwich, Craig. Oh god. Falafel sandwich, which is delicious balls of garbanzo beans, by the way, or just cooked and deep fried and stuff like that, with tons of good spices, some good delicious yogurt, stuffed
really
into
drawing
a
this out.
pita pocket. It is one piece. It's not two separate pieces of bread.
It's in a pocket?
Yes.
So, like, it's a hot pocket.
No. It's you take a pita, right, which is a form of flatbread that's usually hollow in the center. So you cut it in half, and it creates kind of a pocket where you can stuff in the filling, and that's considered a sandwich.
Well, then it'd be
That's lacking your two slices of bread, and we're bringing back in flatbread.
No. See, because there's damn it, what is that called?
And I love
Hold
falafel
on.
sandwiches, by the way. They're quite tasty.
Oh, I know.
What the fuck is that called? This is gonna piss me off.
Isn't that just an overfilled sandwich?
I mean, you could just put it between a slice of bread. You just cut it open. Yeah, that would still be a sandwich.
This is
More-
one piece of flatbread with just a center that you can just stuff it full of
So
stuff.
if I got a loaf of sourdough bread and hollowed it out and stuffed it full of like bacon, lettuce, and tomato, you would call that a sandwich? Because I'd probably call that a sandwich.
Yeah, it would be a sandwich. It'd be a weirdly put together one.
So now you're loosening the terms of what a sandwich can be.
No,
Before you were
because
so
it's
adamant
still-
about
it's
it being
still-
two separate pieces of bread.
It's not.
And
It's
leavened
still,
bread
it's
at
still,
that.
It's still between bread. That's the whole point.
Even if it has an opening somewhere?
Because there's the fuck. I can't remember that bread type. It's the long piece of bread that you put like the subs on. What is that called?
Like French hoagies?
Yes, hoagie bread. There you go. You just slice that down. You don't necessarily have to slice it in two, and then you put the things on it. That's still a sandwich.
It's true. It's kind of on/in.
But
It's in bread.
on in.
But Craig,
On/in
I could do
bread.
the same
Yes,
thing
thank
with
you.
tortilla.
No, a tortilla is different.
It's a flatbread, just like pita is.
It serves a different purpose. It's too flat to make a sandwich.
So would pita be if you only use it as a
tortilla is for wrapping things. You don't wrap things in pita bread. You can't slap them between it. That's not what a tortilla is.
Pita bread is way too thick.
A tortilla is too flimsy. It's too weak to be a sandwich bread.
Now you're just being racist against tortillas, telling it what it can and can't do.
I am telling it what it can and can't do. They serve a function, all right? And their function is not to be a sandwich.
Conjunction, junction, what's your function?
All right, let's move on to the next question, because fuck this.
Give me the other muff.
All right, let's see what else we got here.
Hey guys, I just wanted your advice on something that's actually kind of serious, so sorry to take away the funny.
It's been serious.
Basically, my wife kind of had an emotional affair with some dude, and nothing really happened, but I don't know, we don't need to get into that too much right now, but basically this fucking dude, he's some shithead that's got a wife and kids, and they didn't do anything physical, but it was very clear that he was trying very hard to make that happen for a couple months, and he's apparently cheated on his wife a couple times before. And so I'm kind of in the situation where I feel like I should reach out to his wife. I mean, he knows that I know about him and all that shit, and he basically went scared to my wife saying, hey, like, is he gonna, like, fuck up my life by telling my wife all about this? Yeah, so I just was kind of curious what your thoughts were. Obviously, it's not the greatest way to hear about something like this, but she kind of deserves to know. I mean, that her husband is repeatedly continuing to try and be a shithead. So yeah, just kind of wanted your thoughts on that, and next time I'll call with something funnier. All right, see you guys.
The question is what is her definition of a sandwich? And if it doesn't fall in line with yours, then throw her under the bus, ruin her life.
It'd be
100%. You should tell this other lady what's going on.
Well, 100%.
100%.
Well,
There's no question.
Let's unpack this just a little bit.
Okay.
Let's unpack this a little bit. Let's discuss. Let's go through some of the stuff he's been thinking about. So it's a fucked up situation.
I mean, it's not necessarily about vengeance or anything like the dude thinks it is.
No,
it's literally
it's not
because like
vengeance.
it's horrible on her part to have to live with that without knowing about it.
Well, it's not horrible at all to have to live with something that you don't know about.
First off,
ignorance
though,
isn't always bliss, Schweiss.
Right, but that's only when you find out
first
that
off,
it's not
though,
bliss.
like being cheated on, emotionally cheated, like there you can look at it a whole bunch of different ways. That's hard to get over. That's trust right there. And when a relationship has, that foundation attacked, it's just super hard. So he's living in a situation right now with his wife. I don't know how they're dealing with it and what choices they make, but just, they're going to choose whatever makes them feel comfortable. So I'm sorry you had to go through that. It hurts, but sounds like you're getting past it. But now that same pain that you've been feeling, and as soon as you reach out to the wife, you're going to open that up for her too. But not all pain is bad in a sense. Like, it'll hurt her and it'll probably hurt the relationship, but there's no trust in that relationship currently.
Well, there is, because they don't know.
So
only one person
He's
doesn't
stuck
know.
for a
He
bigger
has no
fall.
trust for his wife.
Well, I'm saying for the other family.
Right.
Right,
That's
like,
what I'm talking about.
set
Yeah,
them up.
them too. Like the dude has no trust.
Well,
He's
So
betrayed
when-
the trust.
So
therefore,
looking-
there is no
being,
trust.
So when you're in a relationship, from what I've observed, where one of the spouses has been unfaithful, there is just a tension there and something. Unless the dude's a psychopath and he doesn't really associate his emotions with that relationship, and he's totally just playing it off. Cool. There's usually where one person will project his lack of trust onto the other person, even though he's the one who's out cheating and stuff like that. Since it's so easy for him to do, he's projecting how easy it would be for her to do. So who knows what that relationship is like unless you actually, and I mean, you could ask your wife, because she obviously associated with him, to see why he's reaching out like that. Like, why is he wanting to cheat? Is it something fun for him? Is it just that he's looking for emotional fulfillment he can't get that's currently in his relationship? So, I mean, there's a million ways to unpack this. Are you doing her a favor? Are you doing him a favor?
You're doing her a favor.
But yes, in the long run, you'd be doing.
But are
her a
you though?
favor.
Because she
hold on. According to him, he says that
it's a difficult thing.
Well, he says that he's cheated on his wife multiple times before. According, and so he's apparently told
her,
this guy's wife, that, and then he also says, hey, apparently. He went to his wife and said, "Hey, is this guy going to fuck up my life?"
Saying this guy,
which means that he intends to keep doing this. He just doesn't want to leave his wife because there's a stability there, which means that he's doing it for fun.
Well, their kids.
That's what it sounds like. To me.
I don't know. See, here's the thing. I don't think it's. I don't think you should 100% tell the wife. I don't think.
No,
that's
you 100% should.
No, and
it's
here's
not
why,
fair
Craig.
to her to not know.
Well, no, you know what? It's even less fair for the children, Craig. And children. No, listen to me. Children that grow up in houses where they don't have both family members are more fucked up.
Yeah, but
yes
people
and
who
no.
unhappy family is way worse than being.
But you don't know that they're unhappy.
Than being without a parent.
I mean, we're
you don't know. You're
information.
assuming that there's something wrong. I mean, there is something wrong with what he's doing.
There obviously is something wrong,
right?
because
But
he's
Craig,
cheating.
you're saying that there's automatically a problem, and there isn't necessarily.
Well, Schweiss, what you're advocating is allowing this person to continue doing what he's doing,
No,
which is
I'm not.
absolutely
That's
horrible.
not what I'm advocating.
The exact
Yes, you are. By
No.
not letting this other person know, you are
No.
totally advocating that they should stay together because of the kids, allowing this
listen to
guy
me.
to do whatever he wants.
I'm saying that there's a higher order in place here, and I think the kids are more important than their initial happiness. Plus, the wife doesn't know, and by not knowing, it's not a problem. Potentially, it could be a problem.
It obviously.
I'm not saying
The
it's
situation basically is whether or not you choose to pull off the Band-Aid now or wait till later, because eventually she's going to find out.
Dude, the
You
number
gotta
of years
decide
that this
whether
goes
or
by,
not-
it's going to be way worse for her than it is
Right,
than if you
that's
tell her
whether you
now.
decide
But
to
the
pull
problem
Band-Aid
is
or
like
not.
who says it's your right to tell her? I mean, it is wrong.
It
I'm
is
not
your
listen to me.
right.
Listen to me. I'm not saying that what he's doing is right. That's wrong. It's wrong to cheat. It's wrong to be disloyal. It's wrong to take someone's trust and throw it away. But I don't think it's right, even for him to tell his wife that he's done that, because like he doesn't. I don't know if he necessarily has the right to do that.
Yes,
because
he does.
no. Listen to me. Because he's basically. He's basically throwing away his family. He's throwing away their stability. He's
Okay.
throwing away his children's.
Let me ask
But
you
is
this.
he
Let me ask
lifting
you this
himself
then,
up on the
Schweiss.
cliff to have a bigger fall off.
If a
he
man
doesn't do it
sleeps
now?
with a woman and then later finds out that that woman is in a committed relationship, and does he not have the right to tell the guy?
He has the right to do whatever he wants.
Then there you go.
But
he
I don't-
has the right to
but
tell
that doesn't
person.
necessarily mean
The
that
fallout
that's what
will
he
be
should
for the
do.
kids.
That is exactly what
No,
he should
Craig,
do.
there is a
It's
right.
the right
Listen to me.
thing.
No, there's the right and then there's the responsibility. Those aren't the same things, Craig. Those
how
aren't
are
the
they-
same
how
things.
are they not the
They're
same thing?
extremely different. I have the right to say
In
whatever I
this
want, but
in
I
this
have the
particular
responsibility.
situation, how is that not the right thing to do?
Because it's not his responsibility to ruin someone else's life. They can do that
It's
themselves.
not necessarily ruining their life. It could be fixing it, because there's obviously a problem.
That doesn't necessarily mean that there's huge problems at home, though. He could have just been unfaithful multiple times on like one night.
How is that not a huge fucking problem?
I don't know. I don't have that family, so you don't either. You're assuming that there's a ton of other problems, and if
No,
there are,
that is the one problem that we know of. It is a huge fucking problem.
I know, I'm
it's
not
a problem
saying
for
it's-
literally everyone. It's a problem for the wife. It's a problem for the husband, obviously, and it's a problem for the children.
yes, but if you separate
It is
those,
literally a
listen
thing that needs to be addressed and resolved, and someone has to tell that person.
I don't think
Otherwise, nothing is going to change for them. And if something is,
You're
she finds
assuming-
out,
you're
if she
assuming
finds
a
out
lot.
later on, Schweiss, then it's going to be horrible.
It boils down to it not being his responsibility to tell.
it's
the wife.
not his responsibility.
because
And
it might be the right thing to do, but that doesn't mean it's his responsibility.
it might be technically the right thing to do, but I don't know. It's
Because
it's
it-
such
you
a
can't
complicated
just leave it
situation,
alone.
but
No, I think you can in a lot of ways.
In this way, I think it would
it's
be
a lot
better
more black.
for
It's
him to
not as
leave it
black
alone.
and white as you think it is, Craig.
And
Yes,
this,
it is.
No, it's not.
It's not.
Dude, this guy has obviously
You're basically
this guy
saying
has
that-
invaded into his territory, into his life.
Well, now you're making it about
And-
revenge.
No, it's not about revenge. But
It
this
is.
guy has interfered with his life, and it's disturbed him. How is it not his responsibility?
It's
to
his
be like,
responsibility.
hey, this person has fucked up my life.
It's his
You
responsibility.
need to know that he did this. You were living with this
I
person.
mean, you don't know.
It's his
so our
responsibility
listener-
to deal with it on
So you
his
don't.
end.
So our listener, it's a huge thing emotionally between him and his wife, and I'm sure they're working it out in the way that's best for them. He hasn't asked us any advice what he should do for that, so I think he already has a plan.
Yeah.
and
but that's
he
for
might
his
be building
wife.
his
He's
trust
asking
up with her
specifically
and
for
so
what he should do with this other person.
He should consult his wife and
guy's
talk about it.
wife.
So if he reaches out and because apparently, I don't know how close his wife and this guy were before this happened. They might have been close in order for that type of relationship to develop. I don't know if either of them were out seeking for something like that, but if he's trying to rebuild trust, going behind her back and telling on this
Well,
dude
if he's
is probably
asking
not the best
us,
move.
then he's probably
he
already
should
talked
discuss
about
it,
it
yeah.
with his wife.
Yeah, so he should talk about it with his wife. It's not his job or his duty to. I mean, this is horrible what the guy's doing.
Yeah, it's wrong.
It
We all
happens.
admit that. Yeah.
But it's not his job to do that, to tell on him.
And I would say there's an argument for the guy who actually cheated that he almost has he has a decision to make. And
Yeah.
like, what right does
but
he
we
have?
already know what he's already done.
He's already elected
Yeah.
to not do
Yeah,
anything
that's
about
true.
it.
But it's
Yeah.
I think there's I
Lacks any
think
moral compass to begin with.
well no
by
I
doing
think
such
that's
things.
actually a good thing to some extent. If you stop it and you hold yourself
It's not
accountable.
a good thing.
No, listen to me, Craig. Listen to me. You don't know what responsibility is, so I don't want to hear your
But we
opinion on
don't
this.
Go
know.
fuck yourself.
Listen
Go
to me.
fuck yourself right now.
Listen to me. Listen to
Go
me.
fuck yourself right now. That is a ridiculous statement, Schweiss.
You
take that
No,
back.
no. Listen
You
to me.
take it back right
you're,
now.
You're confusing responsibility and what's right and wrong. And I'm saying that it's possibly wrong.
No.
You're saying
No,
there's
I'm not having this conversation anymore, Schweiss. Fuck off.
You're saying
Fuck off.
You're saying that Craig, come on. All right, look, that
So-
was a little harsh. I'm sorry.
A little harsh?
It was
Schweiss,
slightly. I'm saying that in this situation,
Fuck off.
We all know that Schweiss devolves to attack a person's character with his argument.
I'm not attacking his character.
It's
I'm
his
saying-
you are
asshole.
telling me I have no responsibility.
no, I'm
is
saying
exactly
you don't have
attacking
this
me.
responsibility. Is what I'm saying.
That's
You-
not
no,
what
no,
you
no, no.
said.
Don't
You
backtrack
said
on
I
that.
have no responsibility.
Backtrack.
No, okay. Look,
That is not that is a direct attack against my person,
But-
Schweiss.
I'm not. Okay,
and you've
listen.
done that multiple times. So fuck off.
No, listen. I'm saying you don't have the same kind of responsibilities because here.
That's what you're
just
saying
leave it.
now.
No.
Just leave
That's
it.
what I was trying to say
Just
before when you were
fucking-
screaming at me, but
just
you couldn't
fucking
hear
leave
me.
it.
That's not what you
No,
were
it
trying
was.
to say.
It was.
Okay, both of you.
No,
back me up.
we couldn't
already
do
Is
did.
that not what he said?
I
No, I
already
just
did
said that.
back you
Yes,
up,
I did
yes.
say that. No, I'm
So-
saying earlier when I said that there's an argument to be made that he doesn't have the right to tell his wife about it because then that ruins their lives. That's what I mean. You don't have that.
versus
You don't have that responsibility because you
None
don't
of us have that responsibility.
No, I do. I'm married. I have kids.
No, none of us are in this situation, so none of us have that kind of
No,
responsibility.
I know, but I'm saying that because
But anyways,
once you have children and once you have a wife, then you can really.
One point I want to make. No, so you don't theorize. Don't try to project what you would do in that situation.
I'm not trying to project.
Well,
I'm saying
But
that it's
what-
hard to say.
One point I do want to bring up, just to kind of change the direction, is what repercussions would his family, our listener's family, have to go through once he tells her? Because if he tells this other dude's wife,
That wife could
both
go
of
after
them,
his wife.
That wife could go after his wife. The husband could go after him as well for destroying his family. That's that's another side of the thing that we need to look at. That's not their responsibility to deal through that blow up. But again, I can't say yes or no. I can't say yes, you should tell him, no, you shouldn't.
Well,
There's just too many factors in this.
That's what I mean by.
And And even if
we
you
don't
have that experience, I still don't feel like you know enough of the situation to make that type of judgment call.
That's why I mean that's partly why I said that to Craig. It's because you don't have a wife and kids, so you want to. I don't know, man. It's different. Once you have a kid, you have someone that you care about more than yourself, like straight up. Like there's no.
Well, obviously, but if you honestly cared about your family and you cared about your kids, you wouldn't be fucking cheating on your wife.
I agree. But when you
obviously there's a problem because he doesn't want to admit to anything. He specifically said to this guy's wife,
that it's
"Hey,
happened
is this guy
multiple
gonna?"
times.
Yeah, that it's happened multiple times.
Yeah.
That he sought it out, and that he said that he doesn't want this guy fucking up his life.
Well,
which means that he stays with his wife because there's a sense of stability there.
My gut
because
reaction
he doesn't
is
want he just doesn't want to fuck his wife. He wants to fuck somebody else's.
Well, I know.
That's all it is.
I know. But what I'm saying about the
So this guy is a piece of shit, and he shouldn't be raising his kids.
Right, but I think he's somewhat lost the responsibility.
He's
to be
lost
the
all
one.
responsibility.
But
he
he's-
has no responsibility.
I
He's
agree.
a piece of shit who's given up on his family entirely. That is what that says.
And then you got to decide, like I said earlier with the Band-Aid theory, do you pull it off now and figure out, do we just immediately cut that guy out of our lives now after figuring it out? Or do I try and patch things up and keep him around so that he could maybe turn into a father figure later on?
Well,
that's the verses in this.
Well, the other
deciding which do you
argument
do.
for him to not have the right, so to speak, to tell his wife what he's done is because he's given up the right to have that responsibility almost. So like he what right does he have to ruin his family's life for the mistake he made?
No, it's not. It's
and
not,
what he should do is
it's not
come
his
to
right. It's so
he should come to
I
terms.
feel-
He should come to terms with what he's
Unfaithful,
done.
Great movie.
He should come to terms with what he's done and never do it again and change the way he's
No,
living.
it's-
But he
it's
probably
not
won't.
gonna happen. Not,
Probably
yeah,
won't,
he has
so
to be.
it might
So
be-
this is definitely something he needs to be confronted about, or else it's not going to change. It's not your responsibility to our listeners. It's not your responsibility to tell on him. My gut reaction, of course, is always going to be, yeah, fuck him. You know, he's going to ruin his life, his family life at some point doing this if he hasn't already.
Possibly. You don't know. You don't know the inner. That's the hard part, though. Is like if Craig's right and his family life is already trashed.
But
then
we don't know that.
information, yeah.
And he doesn't know. Your wife might have that information. Who knows?
She could, yeah.
And so if you do make that decision of yes to tell him or no, I think that's a decision you have to make with your wife, even though you're coming out of this. She has information that you don't.
You pry her for information, but I wouldn't use her as a moral compass herself to make the decision.
Again, humans are so fucking complicated.
Yeah.
We're emotional beings for the most part.
Well,
who knows what led her down that path? I'm not saying what she did is excusable. It isn't. But it's just a symptom of what the real problem could be.
Right.
Is what I'm saying. No one here is. I don't know the whole situation.
Okay,
But usually in
well-
these things, no one is blameless.
So here's the
Even
other
our
thing:
callers
is this
not blameless.
person
Usually
he
in these
obviously
situations, no
there's
one is
something.
blameless.
There's something that's done. Yeah. There's
Well,
always a way to look.
this
at
guy
it.
also
Be plainly
didn't,
evil
like-
people that
But I'm
no
not
one is
saying
blameless.
cheating
You
on
can be
someone
completely
is
blameless.
ever justifiable. It's not.
This
I
guy
don't think-
didn't physically cheat on this guy's
Well,
wife. Like, with
Emotional
this guy's
cheating
wife.
is usually
Emotional
more
just as
is
bad.
Yeah, it is, but there's a thing because it's not physical. Then there's still some people would say there's still a chance for like reconciliation. There's still,
I mean, there's a chance for
like therapy.
It depends on who you are as an individual and what that as a person means
and
to
because there was like not any like physical relation between these two, I think that it's
Emotionals
fine to tell
can usually be
especially
stronger
to
than
tell
physical,
the wife
though.
because all he has to say is like, hey, this guy was seeking an emotional relationship with my wife.
But he's not asking us to
And-
dissect what happened in his life. He's just
but like he's asking whether or not he should tell this person,
Yeah.
which
And
I think he should.
Well, for the emotional part, I guess I forgot that it was only emotional.
But who knows? Was it emotional?
But he was
for this other
trying
guy?
to make it something more,
That's
which
true, that's
means
true.
that there's a problem and that she should know about
was
it.
the dude just trying to get into
Because
his
it
wife's
means that-
pants, or was he also seeking?
Well,
an
to me, it
emotional-
sounds like he's just trying to get into his wife's pants.
Right.
But that's why, because it didn't go any further, he should be like, hey, you guys should, something's going on here, figure it out.
Yeah, I could see that. No, I mean, and
But
Because
again,
it doesn't
there's a
necessarily ruin
potential
their family
for-
life.
There's a potential of blowback on him and his wife, though, from
You
that
can't
happening.
be held responsible
Yeah,
for
it's-
every single one of your actions when you're trying to do the right thing. I get it could break up a happy
The
home,
the
but you're
dude could
trying to
try
do
to
the
fight
right
back,
thing.
yeah, but that would just mean that he's a piece of shit, which he obviously already is.
You're just trying to do
The
the right
wife,
thing.
the wife would be devastated, obviously,
Yeah,
but she's not going to
she's gonna
attack
be,
the people.
You don't know how. We don't know how
We don't
her
know a lot
temperament
of
is. We
shit,
just
yeah.
don't fucking know a lot of this.
Yeah.
We don't know if she's going to blame the husband or blame the people he was cheating with. We don't know how people react.
a lot of people, and this is exactly what he's doing. No,
lose.
look, this is what he's projecting too, because he asked us, should he ruin this other guy's life? He's already
Well,
not
he
blaming
didn't-
his
he didn't
wife.
ask that.
No, he did. He said, should he tell this other guy's wife or not? And that's already the same thing as he's blaming the other guy more than he is his wife. And it's
Yeah.
like,
That's
Okay,
not.
that's a hard way to look at it, because
well,
it's
he never
50-50.
said. He
Well,
never
I'll
said,
look
"Should
at
I
it.
ruin this guy's life?" That's
Well,
not what he said.
He said, should I tell his wife?
"Yeah." He said,
Which
"Should I
potentially
tell his
could.
wife?"
But that's
Which,
see,
could mean a number.
it could
of
mean
things.
it could mean it makes their lives all greater. And that's where there's a good
Obviously,
argument
they have
to be.
something to work on, which
Yeah.
means, and he's obviously not going to, incite it himself. So there's,
And I
there's
think
a
the-
sense of outside help that needs to be there.
Yeah.
And if you don't provide that, then those changes can't happen. And a later blow up would just make it much worse.
Oh, you're
for
going to hold
everyone
on to
involved.
this till the day you die. So I don't want to involve too personal, but you did call in and ask the question. I don't think that trust can be built there again. If your wife was such a willing participant, I would cut ties.
I mean, he's not asking us to dissect his own relationship.
I did.
But they're making choices that are right for them. And yes, you can repair a relationship when things like this have happened. I mean,
Basically, anything can be repaired.
right. And
Ignorance is bliss.
it's just that it's
In
just
this instance, it is.
it's when that base of trust has been damaged. It's hard to earn that back. Even when you do forgive someone, you can't have that nagging feeling in the back of your head all the time. Going, I mean,
You forgive, but you never forget.
I'm trying to trust someone, but there was that one time kind of thing.
Yeah.
But nothing. This was again just emotional, which is hard. Your wife did resist it becoming physical. I mean, she didn't want to betray your trust in that way. Again, but you're not asking for advice about that. And my answer to these situations, I don't know. Discuss it with your wife.
Yeah.
She's the closest one to that situation.
I think it's hard
that
too
you can ask.
because if the other person has if they have kids,
I don't know actually if you
her
talk
for
to her about it, if it
information,
might make
and
her
then
more upset. I don't know what would make her more
the wife.
upset. You asking her opinion on what you should do, or
Wait,
just
did
going
he
out
say
and doing
they have
it?
kids?
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So and
Because
that's hard because
your wife might feel like you are breaking her.
I think
Fuck
by
her.
telling
I know
them.
where you're going with that.
at a certain point your happiness becomes secondary to your responsibility to your children. And
But again, so
that's why there's an argument for him to not
it
tell his
depends
wife
on
what he's done.
what the kind of life experience again the kids have.
But where Craig's coming in
and if
is
they
like,
live in an unhappy household,
Dude,
divorce
yeah,
is actually
an
a good
unhappy,
thing.
It can be,
an
yeah.
unhappy
Oh, yeah.
household is
it's bad.
could be far worse than just a divorce.
It can, yeah. So
I'm
you
just
have to take that into
speaking-
Because
account.
with the
Speaking
divorce,
from
you still have
personal experience there.
Yeah.
If the father still wants to be in their lives, then he will be.
But if it's
Then
only
they still have both figures.
if it's part time, then it's not. It's statistically not good. But you have to
it's
decide
much
which is
better
worse.
than-
It can be, yeah. It can be, but you don't necessarily know how bad the home life is. That's the thing, and then
So-
neither does our listener. So it's hard
Well-
to say what he should do because there's so many reasons to not tell, and there's so many
Yeah.
more reasons to tell.
Just to wrap this up, I think what you should gather from this is we don't know what you should do, and you should find someone who has more knowledge in this area of what you should do. I mean, you can ask a counselor or someone else of
Yeah.
what the right thing should
Yeah,
be.
it's
because
you drew hot.
you have
Yeah, if
a
you
lot
seek
of
therapy, then
to seek
that would be
therapy.
definitely something to ask about because obviously this is something that's weighing
just
on your mind.
Just ask. Yeah, you can.
And everyone makes mistakes, and the problem with See, and this is where Craig is right,
It's
because
just you
this
have
guy,
a lot of, you can change someone's life drastically by
you can,
doing this.
yeah, you can, or they can change their own life. But Craig's point, and I think Craig's right, because he said that he's done this before, right? And so this guy's clearly.
Yeah.
He's forgiven himself for what he did in the past.
I don't know. I just there's
that's
so
wrong.
much there that we don't know of why he's doing it.
But see, here's my thing, Craig. When I say,
but it's not excusable. He should definitely be confronted about it. But is it your job to do the confronting?
He should confront.
Well, then whose job would it be?
It should be your own job.
Hell's ever going to hold him accountable?
Yeah,
it should be yourself.
Who's going to hold him accountable unless like his wife happens to find out?
But see, then that's not him being held accountable, really. The only way he can truly be held accountable is if he realizes what he's done and he says, I'm not going to do that anymore.
That's not necessarily true at all.
No, I think it is.
If a murderer doesn't get caught, then, does that mean that he's not held accountable?
No, he holds himself accountable. People go crazy when they get away with stuff like that.
That's what you need to make sure is that you figure out that you do actual evidence that happened, so in the divorce decree she does get half. That is one way he could be held responsible.
Well, I could say
to make sure she gets child support as
so
well.
let's say, here's the problem with my idea, or the way I'm looking at it is, I'm looking at it from the perspective of someone who let's say I did this thing, and I'm grappling with whether or not I should tell Alex. The reason why I should is because I feel ashamed and I did something terrible. But there are so many reasons why I shouldn't.
Yeah,
and a big one would be if I told myself, if I never see, and I think this is where this guy's wrong, is he's forgiven himself for what he's done wrong because he's done it again. That means he doesn't hold himself responsible.
He's done it multiple times.
Yeah,
which means that he doesn't care. He doesn't care about his family. He's made the choice.
Yeah. So it's hard to try to give him logical information because he's already forgiven himself for something unforgivable.
Yeah. So
if I were to do that, or if
needs to know,
if you were to, in a lot of ways, it would be good. Yeah.
It would make far more sense to let her know because this guy obviously has no intention of trying to make things work on his own.
And if he's done it in the past, that means he's. I don't know. There's a lot to be said about you not. And this is a weird argument because it goes against everything we usually stand for. But like, if you were the one that did it, and the thing you should do is just come to terms with it, and I think there's a good case for not telling your wife what you've done because you've given up the right to tell her that you fucked up, and by telling her, you basically get it off your shoulders, and that's something that you should live with potentially. And what, like,
But it is creating a fallacy to keep a family together based off a lie.
Not necessarily. There's a lot of truth there. That doesn't mean everything that you've ever done before is a lie. That's a very absolutist thing. I mean, it's you have to decide. You have to decide if it's.
Yeah, but it destroys the trust completely.
No, it doesn't. If you don't know, it doesn't destroy the trust. It will if they find out. But that's the thing. Is it your?
The
do
trust
you still
is the
have
most important thing, and if you betray it, then there's no trust
right,
there.
Craig, but you don't...
It's an imaginary trust.
I know. Well, it's all imaginary, because if you don't know...
It's not all imaginary.
Well, Craig, if I don't know that you lied to me 20 years ago, it's not... I mean, I'll reevaluate everything that's happened, but if I never find out, that trust was never broken as far as I was concerned.
But it was on one side.
But I don't know that.
You know that it's a lie.
No, but I don't know that. And so you have to take
trust.
Yeah, it is kind of that way. You have to decide if it's your responsibility to keep things, to fix yourself and then let that die, or if it's your responsibility to ruin everything. Which could be for the better.
I'm the kind of person that if I fuck up and
I fuck up and I tell, man.
And I tell.
Yeah, I can't. Cameron definitely tells.
Yeah, there's one time like. So there's only this one fucking time I accidentally hit someone's car. Like, I was backing out of a parking spot, and a dude walks up to me and goes, "Hey, do you have some extra cash?" Like as I'm backing out, he waves me down, so I kind of stop what I was doing, roll down my window, talk to him for a second. He wanted change so he could catch the tram because they were starting to check to see if you had a ticket type of thing. So, oh yeah, whatever, deal with him. But then I backed up some more, forgetting how much I had already backed out, and so I tap someone's bumper, and I leave just the slightest little scratch there, and I'm like, "Fuck me." So I think about it for a second, and I just have to tell. Nothing came of it, but I told I could have easily gotten away with it.
Okay, maybe
I couldn't just not tell.
Maybe I don't always tell.
Yeah, I know that choice.
Looking at the condition of your front bumper, I would
Well, that
assume
one
as
I
such.
told.
Well, that one you couldn't get away with.
Yeah, that one you can't get away with.
I probably could have gotten away if I really
How
tried.
have you been going this long without a front bumper, though?
It's
by the way?
it's very cooling.
I thought
It's
it was
over a year
I
now.
thought it was
Yeah.
like you can get pulled over for not having
No,
certain
wait, it's
safety
not quite a
features on
year.
your car.
How old's your kid?
He's not a year old yet. It's getting close. It was the day before he was born.
I
Remember
know.
how
That's why I
long-
was like, "How old is he?" Because that's
Remember
how I
how
can
long
tell.
it took for him to get rid of the Just Marriott off of his car?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you just
That was
wait.
a work of
That was
art.
just the beginning.
He kept it.
That was the beginning.
I can't
This-
believe
Yeah, but a
you
bumper
didn't
is
get a
something else,
single
though.
car wash in that entire time.
yeah.
You just had respect for me and Dylan's art.
I don't think that's what it was.
Yeah,
No,
so it's-
for me, I don't know. I have this really strong desire, or just like
You
if
have
I
a moral
fuck up,
compass.
if I
Yes.
fuck up, but it's like super strong though. If I fuck up, I have
Same.
to tell. I don't know why. It's just like I immediately just like fucking report on that shit.
Yeah. I did
Yeah.
the same thing.
And that's good, but I mean, I think you would deliberate too. You would be like, "Well, how much
because
damage am
now
I going to
the
cause?"
life isn't black and white.
Yeah, that's what it'd be easier if it was.
I mean, the strongest, white, moral decision you fucking tell. But even though there could be backlash from it, you fucking tell. But that's just like you have something that could potentially destroy, another person's life. Schweiss's thing is the wife might not even know. She might be living a happy life with her kids.
Yeah.
But
And I'm not
the
saying that's
fact-
good. I'm not justifying his actions.
But the
by
fact
that.
that he's cheating, we don't have more information. Just what tendencies are when that's set people to cheating.
Yeah.
And kind of living a life with the cheater. It's not happy 100%. It's never. I don't know. Again, we're just speculating a lot of information that we just
and that's
don't
the
have.
hard thing is that he doesn't have it either, and that's why it's hard.
Your
to
wife
say.
might have. His wife might have more
Yeah.
information.
That's why I
Yeah.
said prior for information.
But-
and
Yeah.
You should talk to her. I don't know if you're. Again, I don't know what your relationship with her is like after all of this.
I would just be like, "Well, did you fuck him?"
Well,
Like, well, no.
he
And I
already
was like,
knows
well,
that she
no,
did
then-
it.
Okay, well, what are
Well,
we talking
yeah,
about?
then you'd be cool with
Yeah,
that?
Like, what do you want? Emotion from me? Like,
yeah. Schweiss is. Yeah.
So you're saying Alex, you're going to go get the emotional part somewhere else as long
like-
as no one's fucking her?
I was like, well, I mean, I don't know.
Oh, boy.
It's like I don't have it, so what? No,
I'm not capable of giving it. So
I'm not
seek it.
No, not necessarily what I'm saying, but it is tough though, and we don't know a lot of
so
stuff.
I just feel like that situation the best out of any of us at this table. Your wife knows it better. Discuss it with her, and then maybe just
Well, I
find
have-
someone
I
to
have a
discuss it
little
with
experience.
who is paid to discuss these type of things, who is a professional in that area, because there's a lot that could potentially happen from this situation, and you just got to know what is the right decision for yourself as well. I mean, so it is most important that you are satisfied with your actions. You have to do what feels right to you. What's right for you could be something completely different than what's right for someone else. And in the end, you have to feel like your actions were the correct ones. You have to feel satisfied with that, because that again, it's you.
Don't let him take anything from you by your actions.
And
So if you have
yeah.
to go out of your way and it's fucking up your time and your peace of mind, don't do it.
No, I'm just like how you react to the situation. The decision to make is yours.
Yeah.
There's different people will make different decisions based off of who they are and what life they've lived. But what's in the end, what's most important is that you will feel satisfied with the decision you make and happy
Yeah.
with the decision you make.
Yeah, that's true.
There is, the moral choice. I mean, again, this is not a white and white and black type of thing. This is very gray area. But again, I do not feel it's your responsibility to tell the wife. But if something inside is nagging at you that you got to do something about it, I don't know. Listen to your gut reaction.
Yeah, find out what that something is and do it.
Again, we appreciate you guys, our listeners, and I've always felt, I'd never wanted to ever become famous from, being on a podcast. I know we're not, but I just feel like these people I get to talk to are just, extensions of, friends. Just a friend group. We're all like-minded. They like what content we put out because, we're just similar people. And so, I don't know. I just feel like being friends with, our listeners are an extension of my friend group type of thing.
Yeah. So you want to try to give them as good a, yeah.
And so if from that point of view, we're not, we're just normal guys. And so we're just giving our opinions on this shit. And there's people out there who are professionals in this area, and I think you should talk to them too.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, Craig. I'm sorry I said that to you.
It's good. Right. Shit got intense.
Thank you.
Nah.
We're making all sorts of restitutions at this table.
Yeah, yeah. I did. Okay, so the first time I told you didn't have any responsibility like 2 weeks ago, I meant it. This time I kind of meant it. But mostly it was like you don't have this guy's responsibility, so it's hard. It's hard to say what he should do. Great. I don't know.
I don't know. We just see a pattern with how Schweiss argues with different people.
Really?
Well, I talked to Dylan after that, and I was like, "Yeah, sorry, it was just our semi-annual face-off." It's like my semi-annual. What did I say? It was like my semi-annual realization that our ideas don't work together, and so I had to fight him. But it's funny because he wasn't even that mad. He wasn't even mad at all. He was just like,
"Have a good day, Schweiss."
Yeah, he was like weirded out.
Okay, I mean that's good, but it's you reaching out when you felt like someone could be mad is good too. But when you make an argument with someone and then you attack them for something that's separate from the argument that you're having at that moment,
I don't think. Well, I don't know.
I mean, no. We're
not going to go into
not
what
on
happened.
this. Yeah, we could talk about somewhere else.
But it's difficult to say that it's separate from the argument when
it is though. It's a completely. I mean. It is completely separate in the foundation of what the argument was. What he would do with it is completely separate from what the argument was.
No, I don't think it is. I think
it is.
I think your intended result of the argument does play a part in the argument
was not
itself.
Someone can take a look at a situation and go, yes, I agree with it or disagree with it based on the merits of that situation
Well, and
alone.
I did say that, yeah.
But you don't need to fucking bring in something else unless someone else brings that in. But with that, we can talk about that later.
You became somewhat emotional like a lefty.
Okay, there's emotions on every side. There are snowflakes on every side.
Well, it's not the emotional part.
It's just
you want to detach every. You want to detach every conversation you've ever had with someone before the conversation at hand. And it's like, I know why you want this particular thing to go down.
No, so you can say,
because I know what you want
X
to be done with it.
Pay taxes, yes or no? Should X,
And I did say that.
Should X organization be tax exempt, yes or no, based off their merits? That's a totally separate, from saying, "Oh, I know why you want them to pay your taxes." Blah blah. No, that was not even part of the fucking discussion. Don't bring that shit up.
No,
when we have a separate, whether or not taxes should be a thing, then you can bring that up. But when we're talking about an organization that could possibly be hiding behind being tax exempt, that's all of it its own a separate thing.
But what's being hid?
I mean, I don't think it is completely separate.
Okay.
Because the argument for taking down...
that would be something for a later thing down the argument, not to go to immediately.
I mean, we need to go over the rules of debate and then what, could just, be, hey, you're leading or you're pulling stuff in that don't belong.
Set rules for the
I don't think it... I don't know if it necessarily doesn't belong, though, because...
That's the last thing.
All right, we'll discuss that. This is waxing long, but yeah.
If you're arguing whether or not something should have its tax exempt status, but you have if you previously stated the fact that you want these things to be provided by the government, I then assume that you want these people to be taxed so that it makes it easier to pay for these things. That's not a illogical conclusion to jump to. That's how
not
people
exactly super relevant.
That's how people think. We remember things from the past.
Yeah. But the argument
was
part
not
that
relevant
you went
to the argument
wasn't
at all.
necessarily relevant to what you were talking about.
Well, we already talked about everything that was relevant, and I said, they should probably lose it.
So the whole point, I know your opinion on taxes in that corporations are better at spending money than the government.
Well, that's his
is.
opinion too.
But
is the thing.
right, correct. But anyways, the whole argument was here is this entity that says it's a religious entity. It's tax exempt because of that. And the whole reason why things are tax exempt is because they're not making money off of it, and they're using those funds to better society in a certain way, helping relief efforts and whatnot. But when an entity is not doing anything with that besides slightly benefiting from it and stockpiling it, they are not doing the things, they're not helping the society in any way. They're helping themselves by sitting on all of that, and then therefore should they not be taxed? So at least something can come from that money, because they said we're tax exempt. There's certain stipulations that you have to do in order to be tax exempt, and they're not doing anything with the money. It's just sitting there. It's not bettering anything like they said they would with it.
But they do. If you
Not
know
from
anything
that.
Not from that specific section, but they go out of their way above and beyond, even more so than even the Red Cross. I've got huge problems with the LDS Church. I do. But
Well,
their
We're not naming
humanitarian-
names in here. Okay.
I gladly will. But their humanitarian efforts go above and beyond.
They do
They
help
get
their
into
community in
places-
certain ways, and they do get
they
into places
help the
other
world.
things can do. But if you really look at
Yes, they're spreading their propaganda.
And then here's the
This is
thing.
beyond the bounds of After Dark.
yes, this is.
Well, it has begun.
And
And
my
it should stop.
my argument was that even though they're not doing the best job at it, they're still doing a better job than the federal government ever
Yeah,
did.
but they're not. So out of this particular thing, they're not doing anything, which is the argument.
Well, no, they did. They built a mall. And
Well, they used some of the funds to help.
they
with this. So
provided-
this is all
What's the
allegedly, by
problem?
the
All we're
way.
doing
This is all
double
allegedly.
taxing. Because the reason why something should be tax exempt, in my opinion, of course, is that the people that are already providing funds to it have already been taxed by the government once,
Well,
and they're just getting doubled again.
Now you have to
Sometimes-
go down to whether or not they're using their 10% pre or post being taxed.
It's pre because it's charitable donation. You can make it pre.
Yeah.
I never did, and I never have for my donations. I don't know why. I don't. It's a weird.
But
like,
if we're going to discuss like
there's
a
no need.
corporation not spending money what they should be spending in order for humanitarian efforts,
So-
then let's look at every single government program that has ever been instituted that hasn't done the job in 60 years.
yeah.
So why should they even exist as well? Why should that same entity that's fucking up be the ones to come in and say, yes, you lose your tax exemption?
And now we're going to take more money from you. And yeah, admittedly, they used it for things that aren't for.
Basically, there's
what it's
rules
for.
that you're supposed to be playing by, and they are allegedly not.
But the
playing by
government
those
never
rules.
abides by them.
That's true. Yeah, that's where it becomes difficult.
I mean, again,
And then
you
even-
have,
even
you,
with-
you can't just make this. Oh well, I'm justified because you're not doing it correct too. That's part of the problem. I mean, you should be doing it because it's the correct thing to do. And again, even if someone else isn't doing
Right,
the
but
correct
who
thing,
becomes the moral arbiter here? I don't
well,
think the government ever
obviously,
should.
a religious organization should be the moral arbiter in this situation.
yeah.
So let's leave it up to them to make sure of that.
Well,
And if not, then whatever happens,
And see,
happens.
it's
to them.
also like-
it doesn't mean that the government should be coming in and forcing them to do such things. It's between them and whatever the hell
well,
creator
the
they believe
government
in,
is
that
supposed
they're
to
gonna
be there
fucked.
to protect. So
But
the whole
they-
idea of government, don't even get into like, are they doing it correctly? That's again a whole different thing. But what their job is to make sure people are being taken advantage of.
Yeah.
And so when someone, continually gives their money to an organization under promises of what that organization is going to be doing with it, and they find out that organization isn't, well, who's big enough to call that organization out to start doing something with it? And that's what the
Members
government's
of
supposed to
their
do.
own coalition that figure out what's happening to their money and they change it from the top down by getting rid of them.
I mean, yeah. But when it comes to
Like
this type
whenever
of
there was
organization,
someone
people...
like a transient bishop wasting a whole bunch of funds that happened within the church, they out his fucking ass.
Yeah, of course they do, because he's wasting the funds. But
Yeah.
when the church is sitting on a stockpile that they're not doing anything with, besides occasionally helping themselves with it, again, just all allegedly, there's no proof.
Yeah, yeah.
And so it's
I believe they
innocent
are, but
until proven guilty. But basically, they are supposed to be doing, they're supposed to be using the funds for what they said they were going to be using it for. But
well,
they
I
haven't
mean,
been.
at the same time, you can't expect them to spend every single dollar they have the moment
No,
they
I
get
mean,
it.
so them making money is never the problem. It's just them not spending it.
Yeah, but then it's like, they
did
do spend
it
a
on
ton.
something to provide an economy for
Yeah,
the
even
mall
if
and
we-
a whole bunch of
even
I
people.
mean,
if
yeah,
we-
they did do a lot to improve the downtown Salt Lake City economy with that project.
Yeah.
But it's just you're not supposed to use charitable donations for a building a shopping mall, something that's not that's for.
But that
profit.
is giving back to the community. It's not necessarily wrong because you make money from it. That's a stupid way of looking at it. We're Americans. We're all committing crimes then of morality.
But then when you make money off of something, current laws are you should be taxed on that, which isn't happening for that fund that they're spending to profit off of.
Well, I mean,
Those
I'm sure
funds
they're
have already
paying
been
sales
taxed.
tax on all the stores.
No, they haven't.
No, they have
Majority
because
have.
all of your well, no, not necessarily because you could tax exempt
Not only
your
the
tithing.
tithing. Well, you could tax exempt the tithing.
That is the tithing.
But each individual has a paycheck, and those paychecks are already being taken
Yeah,
out.
all the people that work there are all paying payroll taxes. The businesses are paying taxes. So
Right.
it's
And
like
everything- you not even
that
being
is
a
for
member of the
profits
church-
paying taxes, but they have this huge fund that's not being taxed because they're supposed to be using it for
But that's individuals already
non-profit
contributing their tithing.
purposes.
A majority of people don't, even if they write it off in tithing, not only from the church, but they are still also contributing things that they don't
But that's
write
the whole
off.
point. That's the whole point of taxes. At that point, is it's taking money to better the community. That it's giving funds to the government. Yes, the government admits that they're not that good at doing.
oh, they
it.
do. They admit it very clearly when
Right.
they say you can write off your taxes
Which is
for
why
doing it yourself.
something-
Yeah.
Which is why being tax exempt is a thing.
Yeah.
Because you're using it to better the community.
It's because they know you can do a better job than they can. That's why
And-
you can write off your charity.
And
It's because they're like, do
argument
it.
my whole argument is this: if it takes them that particular fund losing its tax exempt thing, now the church can just make more donations for a larger tax write off. It's the same diff for me.
Yeah.
The only thing that's
Yeah,
changing is that
yeah.
it's being used for something.
That's what I was telling Dylan on the side. I was like, that even if they lose the exemption, they're not paying taxes, right? Like they're just not
That's
going to.
okay because it's being used.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the whole point. It's like you're
and
tax
that's what I
exempt
said.
because
I
we trust.
I said, well, they should probably lose their tax exempt status.
So when you're tax exempt, it's because you are going to be using those funds for charitable reasons. No one's making money off of it, but they're not using it for any charitable things. But then again, I'm getting worked up about it. But I have to dial back and say, until it's proved, or then it's like it's a moot point. But I'm still like it's like
I will assume and say that they were doing what they were doing, but it's that this subsection of what money they were doing is just that little
donations.
bit, a little bit of piece in the pie, because
That's
the
the-
whole entire
that's the-
church
that's
is
the
ran by
taxes.
donations. It is just
no,
one piece of their.
they
99
do make quite a bit of money in their other sectors, which do.
True,
Which they do pay
okay,
taxes
let's just
on.
talk about the amount of tithing that they do get from the members that do that.
And that's
That is
apparently
just a small-
the tithing fund.
That's-
That whole thing. So
Well,
what
it's
they're
a
doing
small
with that?
fund
So
for the church, the small fund for the mall, and the other 99% go to helping Uganda before the Red Cross. shows
because
up.
the whole argument about this particular fund, which is where the tithings are coming from, they're being invested, and then
Some of them, yeah.
and some of and it's being invested, and they're making money off of it. But the huge argument is they haven't spent a dime of it besides 2 instances. That's the whole argument against it. They're not using it for anything.
Well, it's like, and then here's the thing: is
don't-
like. You can say, "Oh, we have a fund that we're not using," but it's like, but how much are they using? I mean, I want it percentages. I don't care that they have a certain pool of money that's
So
not.
the whole argument,
because money
the whole
is
thing that came out against it is the dude said, who's the dude who's the whistleblower in this. He said that there were no money was ever going out besides for the one time for the mall and the one time for that insurance.
Right,
But I
right.
don't think I think it's like half lies, half truth to that, because he's
Yeah.
spiteful enough to where he wants to do this and claim that he wanted a portion of the money.
No, so
I don't know if I could trust
I mean, yeah,
everything
that
he's
pulls
saying.
out, and yes,
Yeah.
I mean,
And it's
yes, there's a
Washington
financial
Post.
incentive, but that's just part of tax law when
Well,
you're a
here's-
whistleblower and
No,
someone.
I know, but that just
Here's
proves that
the
he's-
Well, he's
here's
money
another
motivated
thing. It's
for
like
sure.
it's like getting on to me like, well, you've got all this, like let's say I have $1 million in my savings account, but I have $3 million that I earn, and I spend $2 million of it on charity. It's like, well, you've got a fund that's set up that is nothing's going out of. It's like, well, yeah, but I mean, I've got $2 million worth that is going out. So it's like me
have to invest all my money,
but that's
immediately
why
every single time.
But that's why
in
they're
a
tax
hostile
exempt.
But this
market.
particular that's why this particular thing is tax exempt though.
Yeah,
but and it's basically it comes down to
It sounds like the tax
the
exemption.
church it's not financially transparent to its own members.
Yeah,
of
which
what
it
it's doing
should
with
be.
its funds, and I think a lot of this would be solved just with that.
Yeah, and
I
they-
mean, we all know that the Mormon Church is
Filthy
super
rich, yeah.
right? And it leaks into like pop culture too. Like if you watch The Expanse, the Mormon Church in that is still fantastically rich.
Yeah,
But
that's because they know how to run things. They're good at it.
Because it's a business where all the people who work for it are fanatical believers in the business. I mean, take it what you will, whether or not you do believe in something or you don't, but they've taken a religion and then they've taken that zeal that people have for religion and just turned it into a business, and it's just a smart way to run it. I'm not going to argue with that.
Very smart. It's still a cult, but it's a great.
And then whether
organization.
you do believe or you don't believe, I'm giving credit where it's due. It's a smart way to run it, and it's so well organized down to the the neighborhood level. Like if there is a huge disaster to happen, like anywhere here in Utah, dude, like fucking forget FEMA and relief efforts. The church will fucking bail itself out.
Yeah,
and down to every fucking member.
And
they're
it's
just
not,
so well organized.
Yeah,
and they have the capital to do so.
Yep.
And it's good that they do, and that's why it's good that we have these things in place.
And then I will say, for the most part, the church is fine. Like it's just like I don't think it's a bad, evil thing. I just feel like its motivations have been skewed over time towards making money over being relief to the world. They're stockpiling money for some reason, and it could be because they know the end of times is near. But if it is the end of times,
well, I mean,
what are you going to use the
Romney's
money
supposed
for?
to be the savior. Remember?
No, I thought
That's
that
what
was
a lot of them
Trump
been
right
saying.
now.
No. Did you see the turnout for our state for Trump versus what we was projected to get? A lot of conservatives didn't vote for Trump here in this state.
Well, yeah, they had that
It was-
McMullen guy. That
Yep.
they hit hard.
McMuffin.
Which is strange to have Utah not vote, for...
Oh, they voted for Trump.
Yeah.
They did, but it was such
A lot more
underwhelming-
voted for McMullen than they expected, though.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, there's a lot
super
that
evolved.
There's a lot that goes into that, but it's good though. It's smart to know.
I mean, the church does care for its own. Everyone's always like,
They took what the Catholics built and just rectified it to being perfect.
I mean, the church will help people in their community, even if they're not members of that church. Like,
Yeah.
you can utilize things like the bishop's storehouse and whatnot. All they expect is a little service in return, and yeah, they might want to see you at church every so often for you to use those. But they do help the community.
Yeah, and that's not
So-
really so wrong either.
No.
It's like, what's the risk there? You're into it and you continue to go, or you just don't.
It's not welfare. It's like
you earn it, and that's
Yeah.
why I would get so mad at my mother for that, because she's like, "Oh, they always just want you to go work for it." I was like, "Oh, God forbid you have to earn your keep."
I mean,
Yeah.
I've
they want me to show up once a week.
growing up.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a bit, benefited from that.
Yeah.
And then the church helps, helps people, pay rent and utilities when they can't. They always try to find ways to help you get to where you no longer need it as well.
Exactly.
It's always it's like you can
Bootstrap.
use it, but we're going to put you in a position or try to get you in a position where you don't need that anymore, which is totally like,
They're very good at weaning.
it's good at weaning and making people self-sufficient. It's the whole, you can, catch a guy a fish or you can teach him how to fish type of thing. So.
Yeah. But I agree, and I there's a lot of problems with the tax exempt thing, though. And
Yeah.
it looks like they're probably going to need to lose it.
Who knows?
They won't
all
pay
this
taxes.
is allegedly, and then
Either way.
arguing that this person is, just only doing it for the money, and he's whistleblowing on him. It's like, oh, you're only trying to help give us information on this person because we're sending out a reward. Oh.
And I think
No, he's
Washington.
doing out of vengeance because I think somebody pissed him off.
I
He's
mean,
doing it to
let's
try and
say
sabotage the whole
you are
establishment.
a 100% fully invested in the church and you believe it and you think that your leaders are doing the right thing, always leading you the right path, and you find out they've been lying about stuff,
then you want sabotage.
Not sabotage. You feel like you need justice to happen, and so you're going to do
Same
it.
with the guy on the phone call from earlier. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, he doesn't. He just wants justice. I don't know if he did. I don't know. Fuck.
What?
Devolved. Okay, we should probably
Not that devolved.
end it.
All right. Well, I think that's it for this week, guys. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for listening to what you asked, and then much, much more. We'll see you guys again next time.
Mankind has always been the poison.
Give up on yourselves and give up on the world.
Every puzzle has an answer.
You dumbass. Kick logic out and do the impossible. Remember that.
I'm glad I met you guys. You made me pick up on things I probably would have just gone on ignoring.
Don't believe in yourself. Believe in me. Believe in the Kamina who believes in you.